Hi, my name is George Chamberlain. I'm with the Center for Responsible Seafood. We're a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to education, knowledge sharing, collaboration with other organizations. Today I want to talk to you about the Improver session that we had at the recent Shrimp Summit in Vietnam. Improver refers to that part of the pathway towards sustainability that a farm begins before it eventually gets certified. And it's a particularly problematic portion of the journey because so many of the farms in the world are smallholder, family-owned farms of just 1 or 2 hectares, just a few acres. And they're literally impossible to reach by certification because they're so small and they're so remote. So the journey requires that they be grouped into clusters and that they receive training and then get access to international markets through registry in a central database, and so on. So in this session in Vietnam, we brought together several speakers with a variety of perspectives to present the story of what's required for certification and what are the next steps. So let's begin with an announcement by Jose Thomas, the CEO of the Choice Group in India, who's really focused on helping smallholder farmers.
That Choice Canning is willing to take an initiative to form an organization in India to support the farmers and to elevate their lifestyles. Accordingly, I'm happy to tell you that we have signed an MOU along with GSA and TCRS to set up a center in India in purely supporting the farmers of India to begin with and to expand to other farming countries.
So following that exciting announcement by Jose Thomas, we moved into the speakers for the session. We began with Amin Ismail from the Unima Group, really an exemplary black tiger shrimp farm in Madagascar with tremendous environmental and social benefits, excellent product quality, sort of the epitome of an Improver program. And then Mahmood from the Bangladesh Shrimp and Fish Foundation talked about Improver programs from an association point of view. Then we moved to Kim of the Kim Delta Group in Vietnam, who works directly with so many small farms deep in the mangrove areas of the Kamal province of Vietnam. And then Corey Pete of ASIC, the Asian Seafood Improvement Collaborative, talked about their work in Vietnam and in Indonesia, and especially working with Chef Tu, who was totally enamored by the quality of the product and the natural environment in the mangrove forests of Kamal, Vietnam. Then Yitno of the Nature Conservancy talked about Improver programs in Kalimantan, that part of Indonesia on the island of Borneo, very remote in the mangrove areas also. And finally, Cormac O'Sullivan of Seafood Watch talked about how to practically work with these small farms by using a more statistical approach to validating the assurances that are required in an Improver program. So let's take a look at the sessions and hear a little bit from some of the speakers.
Being on this trip and having you reconnect me and show me that Vietnamese shrimp is beautiful, something that I feel that's been bastardized and shamed ever since I've gotten into the food space. It makes me feel human. Not only is that it's done in this ethical, indigenous, beautiful, semi-innovative way, still having its roots in a very human-based, non-mechanized way. Sustainability is a forever evolving thing. It's the aspirational work tool, not a label to cancel people and communities out. And being inspired by the scientific space and scientific method, right? We should welcome criticism for the betterment of the system and of sustainability, right? Welcome these conversations and welcome these narratives and not block it out. But that's how you get to a better place, period.
And the challenge is the numbers. Big numbers of small farms. Just in Bangladesh, 250,000 hectares of small farms, each about each farm about 1 hectare. So imagine 250,000 farms. Some of those are macrobrachium, but the freshwater shrimp, the great majority are black tigers. And then a lot here in Vietnam, and a lot we're going to hear in Indonesia, others in Sri Lanka, Philippines. So it's an opportunity to get these small players into the game, into the accessing international markets. So how do you do it? We've got to somehow aggregate them into groups, so there's some critical mass, and then begin to record data to make sure they're tracking their progress, and get them registered in some central registry where we can all say that we believe these are credible improver programs, and buyers know that they can check that, and then those people can move toward, once again, certification. Can be whichever certification group. It can be organic, it can be ratings, it can be whatever destination farmers want for themselves.
Now, one of the challenges that ASIC has had is just because we have built it doesn't mean that they will come, they being the buyers and others who want to support the program. And I think the challenge is that it's just, as George is alluding to in his presentation, working with smaller scale producers is really hard.
So what this supporter can do for the farmer, the small farmer, first with the AIB program is the recognition to make the farmer heard and visible to the community, to consumer, to retailer.
How to organize these small farmers into clusters, and then connect them not only with the local processors but also with the retailers. We are trying to put a limit on the stocking density. That should be 5 to 15 PL, so that we can lower the use of feed and carbon footprint.
It's about, trying to make sure that you reduce, you protect, and you regenerate. Reduction is about reduction of your gas emission, carbon footprint. And over these two different assessments that we've done, 2007, 2019, we found out that we decrease our carbon footprint by 35%.
And yeah, we are also aiming for the carbon credit for this project as well, because when we have restored the like 20% the total upstream grow-out area, we are also aiming to have a carbon credit for that as well.
Choice Canning's initiative that we are now starting, I'm sure will get attention and the support. I would like all of you to cooperate with us, join this plan, join the stream, and I hope together we can make this a great success. Let's educate the farmer. Let's protect the farmer. Let's make their life also sustainable. And I hope all of us can come together to achieve this goal.
So after we heard the perspective from these various speakers, we then asked the audience what they think about how can we best assist smallholders who represent 80% of global shrimp production. The audience responded through their phone app, and you can see that there was support for all 4 of the options that were presented. The one that got the most support was developing a functional business model, the idea being that nothing will have sustainability, nothing will continue to last into perpetuity unless it's based on a sound business model. The second one was forming small farms into clusters, and that's an essential prerequisite for getting improver programs working. And so that obviously also ranked near the top. And then another one was, in order to begin this program, we all need to agree on what the entry-level criteria are for these groups of small farms to enter into a valid, credible improver program. And then what steps do they need to reach within the time frame of the improver program. So that takes discussion among the various NGOs involved in this process, and those discussions have already been going on for a couple of years. The final one, which is really sort of forward thinking, is, can these clusters be grouped into hierarchy? Let's say 10 clusters, a representative from each forms a supercluster. And then these superclusters can be involved in national or regional zone management by the country. That's also receives support, and it's also a very important topic, but for a little later down the road. So to summarize the Improver session, we learned that it's a huge challenge to try to get these smallholder farms into the sustainability pathway leading to certification and beyond to regenerative systems. And complicating it are all the other things happening in the shrimp farming sector now, with low prices, high inventories, a rising bar of sustainability because of rapidly advancing climate change. As with other sessions of the Shrimp Summit, this one was intended not to be just a discussion, but to lead to actionable steps. And I'm happy to report that already we're seeing progress in the Improver program. We've already started developing the entry-level criteria in collaboration with other NGOs, and a technology solution for registering farms and having that registry recognized by the market, and getting initial processors who want to be part of this pilot development on board along with buyers. And we hope to layer on other benefits that will help smallholders, such as access to improved sources of post larvae and feed, better traceability, better product quality, better prices, and hopefully ultimately financing for their product. So stay tuned as we communicate more with additional information, not only about this session, but about the others, and ultimately report progress at the next Shrimp Summit next year. Thanks for listening in.